Hi, it's Dervin from Dig at Excavating. Today we're setting up for a drain field restoration project. This was a failed septic system that was determined by an inspection, and the house is being sold, so we need to get the system in a working order before the transfer can take place. Systems become saturated simply from age and sometimes from overuse. The things that can contribute to that is not pumping your tank often enough and the solids go from the tank out to the drain field. We don't want that happening. Another thing that causes failure is excessive amounts of water. If you have a RO machine or a water softener, those things run a tremendous amount of water through your septic system that do not have to be there. We have a situation where a biomat gets built between the stone and the dirt, and that's kind of a black smeary substance, so it begins to hold water in your septic field instead of draining it. So what the aeration process does is we get rid of the excess liquids, and then we use the probe, which is high compressed air, and we penetrate through that sludge layer and get down into the clean soils again. So we create a path for the water to travel from the pipes through the stone back into the soil. And that's how we get the system restored and functioning properly again. So the process for drain field restoration is we'll use a camera to locate the drain field and mark it off. We'll actually vac out the septic tanks and also the pipes in the ground. We'll get all the saturation taken care of. And then we come in and we probe around the pipes and the stone, and we break up that sludge, that biomat, and we get everything draining properly again. The last step is we put P-stones into the probe holes, and that allows continued oxygen penetration into the ground and keeps the bacteria active. One of the last steps is we want to make sure that your septic tank has an access riser to it. We install an effluent filter on the drain side, and those two things help us to maintain your system in the future. This particular project was a good candidate for aeration and restoration because it's a fairly new system, and we actually checked the size of it as well, so it meets code as far as the size, and there was a lot of landscaping here, nice yard and all that we could minimize damage if we just aerated it and restore the system versus replacement. To determine if your system should be repaired or replaced, we take a number of things into consideration. Number one, is the system up to code for its size? Is it usable for the current number of bedrooms? Is it in a good location? And another thing we check for is water softener discharge. We want to get the water softener discharge out of the septic tank and into its own drainage area. So in some particular cases, we'll install a dedicated drain just for that. Another thing that contributes to premature drain field failure is sprinkler systems. This particular property is very nice, has a sprinkler system, and so that probably contributed to it. In order to avoid premature failure, again in the future, sprinkling over the system should be limited. So here we have a project where instead of tearing up a whole backyard and bringing heavy equipment on a concrete driveway and causing a lot of residual damage in replacing this, we have provided a good alternative to a replacement with this aeration process. So we can repair, replace, or restore. So give us a call the next time you have a problem with your septic system, and we'll be glad to take care of you in an array of ways.